city of Tacoma elected a new mayor. Previous deputy mayor and city council member Anders Ibsen will be sworn in as mayor in January. He joins us now in the King 5 studios in his first interview since being elected. Anders, welcome.
Good morning.
Well, Anders, let's get right to it. When we spoke to you back in August, you told us about some ideas you had for an economic development plan. Are you able to share with us more about that plan now?
Yeah, certainly. So first and foremost, it comes down to just doing the essentials well. So we've had to have a number of conversations about everything from infrastructure to public safety. Those are some of the core issues that voters at the door told me about. Not to mention getting a much firmer handle on housing stability and homelessness. And so making sure that the city is a willing and able partner to Pierce County, to our surrounding jurisdictions, to make sure that we're giving as much of a clear direction there as possible. And then also taking a look at what we can do to better organize our assets. So everything from our manufacturing centers, for example, making sure that we're just being a really good partner to our development community when it comes to housing, and just doing the essentials well and giving maximum certainty.
Okay. Now, during your time as deputy mayor, are there things that you learned that will impact your decision making now that you're in the top seat?
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, it's about your team. And that's what makes the mayoralty a lot different from being just a member of the council, is that it's no longer just you and your particular vision. I mean, the vision is something that you use to organize groups, but it's really about just that. It's about everything from the council to community leaders and just being that rallying point for different community groups to be able to have that coherency. And that's everything from economic development to public safety to just making sure that we have clarity about the new direction for our leadership too, because one of the key decisions that the council has to make in the next few months is the choice of the city manager. Right. And just making sure that we really get that process right so that we set up that next person for success and make sure the administration is there to hit the ground running.
And that's something I know you mentioned you wanted the city to feel like they were a part of. How would you make that happen? I can't say that I've heard a lot of city leaders say they want to hear from constituents even when a national search is being done and before finalists are announced. So how would you make that happen?
Well, something that I worked on when I was on the council in my first term, and something that we've fleshed out with things like participatory budgeting, is making sure that constituent input is part of the process from the onset. Because historically, and it's not just a Tacoma problem, but historically it's almost just a box you check after the fact. And why not actually learn from people on the front end to help shape the process? That's something I'm really interested in doing with the initial stages of the city manager search, and also key hires as well, like making sure that we're really clear on what success means for the community with the police chief confirmation, for example, because that's a key point of conversation for our community. So just making sure that we kind of invert it and making sure that we hear that the values of the community form the basis for the decision rather than just being something that we check in after the decision is almost about to be made, if that makes sense.
They can really help with the search efforts. You can kind of get a better idea of who that person should be, what type of qualities they need.
Yeah, and just what are the overarching values informing the search.
Okay. All right. Now, you did spend some time away from city council, and during that time you were working in real estate as a managing broker. Would you describe or categorize Tacoma as an affordable housing market?
Really depends on who you're talking about. For locals, no. The average entry-level house in Tacoma, and this is me speaking as a housing professional, is about $400,000. That's what a starter home starts at in the more affordable neighborhoods. And with today's interest rates, a local here in Tacoma is really going to struggle to make that happen. Tacoma is affordable for people being priced out of your neck of the woods, up north, for example, and we absolutely welcome folks, of course. But we have to be much more imaginative for how we envision opportunities for starter home creation, for example, for creating rental spaces that actual Tacoma families can't afford. So the city has made some good progress towards, for example, with our rezone that the city took a look at over the last couple of years, but making sure that we're really addressing the gaps and looking at the places that we really need to do a much better job of, which for me would be entry-level housing for home buyers and rentals that actual local families can afford, because your typical Tacoma family is not going to rent a downtown one-bedroom that's going for $2,000 or $2,500. Right. So there are a number of particulars we can look at, but those are some of the gaps I really want to spend some attention with.
Okay. Well, I did a quick check on the stats from the city's dashboard on crime, and it says crime overall is down by 20% from January 1st through this current week compared to the same period last year. But when it comes to violent crimes or those involving weapons or homicides involving guns, those stats are down by just 3%. So, Anders, what are your main concerns when it comes to public safety, and what are your plans when it comes to working with the TPD or the Pierce County Sheriff's Office?
Well, for me, safety is all the above. We absolutely need to make sure that the department is fully staffed, and the city is starting to make some good progress towards doing so with a lateral hiring plan. I've heard nothing but good things about the interim chief, Patty Jackson. Really looking forward to beginning that working relationship and setting her up to succeed if that's the direction we move in. But we can't just simply arrest and force a way out of the problem either. Safety is also just about how the community feels, how we come together, how we enrich our neighborhoods and set up our neighborhoods to succeed through everything from infrastructure to community events to the beautification and just cleaning the place up too. So making sure that everyone is set up to succeed. And no greater example than with our kids. So we've had some good progress with after-school programs like summer late nights, for example. And so I'm going to be very eager to work more with our school district and other community partners to make sure that kids are set up to succeed, so that we're not simply cleaning up messes, but we're making sure that there's greater opportunity on the front end.
All right, Anders, anything else you'd like to share with folks who are going to be seeing you as their new mayor in just a few months?
Well, I'm just profoundly grateful, and not simply for winning an election, but just for people showing up, for caring about our city. Regardless of how you voted, I'm your mayor. I'm here to serve you, and we're here to make sure that the city is a city of destiny for everyone.
All right, Tacoma Mayor-elect Anders Ibsen, thanks for being here, and we'd be glad to have you back.
Thank you so much.